Hi everyone, be sure to drop a follow on my Twitch for all of my live streams, and also be sure to join the Discord so you know when I go live next. Hi everyone, I'm Noctis Kyrios, and today we're going to be reacting to more collected Miscellany videos. And honestly, I'm super excited to dive in and see more of these characters and how they operate and how they play like, as well as some more lore behind these characters as well. So yeah, I'm super excited to dive in. And quick introduction for those of you who don't know who I am. I'm Noctis Kyrios. I've been a singer here on YouTube for about 6 years now. I've also been a Punching Raven player for about 2.5 years now. So yeah, I'm super excited to see how these characters play like, and what their gameplay loop is like, and what additional lore these characters have. So yeah, without further ado, let's go. Kale, sunny green fields. Let's check it out.
Some time ago, the forest rangers of Gandharvaville welcomed a new trainee to their ranks. She's a warm-hearted girl with a radiant smile, always ready to help a forest trekker in need. Like the hardiest plants in the forest, her will to live runs deep, seemingly unbreakable despite the traumas of the past.
Trainee Forest Ranger Kale, reporting.
Mondstadt gave Kale an opportunity to turn things around, and now Sumeru provides her with a place to grow. Here,
oh, she's from Mondstadt,
she will support
okay.
those around her with her newly acquired power of Dendro. Good things come to those who are willing to work toward their dreams. When Kale is in the party, she reduces gliding stamina consumption for your own party members, making exploration faster. Kale's normal attack can combo up to 4 consecutive shots, dealing physical damage. With a charged attack, Kale executes a more precise aimed shot that deals increased damage. While aiming, Dendro energy accumulates on the arrowhead. A fully charged arrow will deal Dendro damage. Kale's elemental skill throws a floral ring that deals 1 bout of Dendro damage to each target it hits.
Okay.
The floral ring will
Throws a
return
ring,
after a set
okay.
time, dealing further Dendro damage on the way back. After unlocking the talent Floral Sidewinder, if one of your own party members triggers a Burning, Quicken, Aggravate, Spread, Bloom, Hyperbloom, or Burgeon reaction before the floral ring returns, the floral ring will grant the character the Sprout effect on its return. The Sprout effect deals Dendro damage to nearby enemies for a set time based on Kale's attack. If the Sprout effect is triggered again before it expires, the initial effect will be removed.
Okay.
Help!
Kale's elemental burst brings her trusty assistant, Cullen Anba, into the battle, causing an explosion that deals AoE Dendro damage.
That's cute.
And creates a Cullen Anba zone. Cullen Anba bounds around within the zone, dealing further AoE Dendro damage.
Oh, that's cute.
Plant life thrives in the Sumeru forests, like the hope rejuvenated in Kale's life. After unlocking the talent the Languid Wood, when a character in the Cullen Anba zone triggers a Burning, Quicken, Aggravate, Spread, Bloom, Hyperbloom, or Burgeon reaction, the zone's duration will be extended. A given Cullen Anba zone's duration may only be extended in this way by up to a limited amount. The time that Kale once spent on the run taught her a wealth of survival and combat skills, though still a trainee forest ranger.
Okay.
Dendro vision gives her the ability to hold her
So
own
she was
in
on the
many
run.
challenging
Okay,
situations.
that's interesting.
In battle, Kale focuses on casting her elemental skill, aiming to hit as many enemies as possible and generate the Sprout effect within the floral ring. This enables her teammates to deal greater damage through more elemental reactions. When her energy is full, Kale summons Cullen Anba, whose Cullen Anba zone deals continuous Dendro damage to the enemy and creates a fertile ground for elemental reactions. By coordinating with her teammates, the zone can be extended and exploited long enough to root out every last one. Growth means different things to different people. Some simply wish to grow up in peace, while others pursue loftier goals. As for Kale, she believes that overcoming her past is a necessary step on the long journey to the future she pursues. This is wise, for to overcome is to move forward, not to wallow endlessly in the past.
Alright.
Pity that my former travel companion, for all their years of rumination, lacks Kale's clarity on this.
Oh.
Or perhaps, some situations are simply too complex to be resolved by good intentions and honest effort alone.
Okay, that's interesting. The narrator had a traveling companion. Huh, that is interesting indeed. But anyways, she seems like a pretty cute character. Like, she seems like a generally cute character. I am curious about her past now, considering that she is from Mondstadt originally, probably. And I wonder how she did end up in Sumeru, and what the implication of why she was on the run. I'm curious about that now. Anyways, pretty decent stuff. Pretty decent trailer. I liked it. It's just cute overall. I dig it. Anyways, let's move on to the next trailer. Dory. Business is booming. Let's go.
I first met Dory long before she was the infinitely resourceful merchant that you know today, but I could already see that
different
her adorable
narrator.
face was simply brimming with confident determination, such focus, such passion. Now, what kind of grand sorceress would I be if I didn't offer her just a little assistance? I dare say my instincts were right on the Mora. That little investment turned out to be one of the best I've ever made.
Come on, let's go. There's a fortune to be made.
Okay, that's curious.
A keen merchant like Dory wouldn't dream of turning away a perfectly good business deal just because the customer demands the impossible. No. So long as the price is right on your tall order, Lord Sangama Bay will personally make sure that all your worries are zapped away with the aid of her electrovision. Any deals that pass through Dory's hands seem to magically yield extra returns. When Dory crafts character and weapon enhancement materials, she has a chance to recover some of the materials used, which can be set aside for emergencies.
Okay.
Dory's normal attack causes her genie to combo up to 3 strikes that deal physical
Aw,
damage
that's
to
cute.
enemies. Hold
The
the
genie
attack
looks
button
cute,
and
man.
The genie drains stamina over time to perform a continuous spinning attack on nearby enemies, dealing physical damage. When the spinning stops, the genie unleashes one final extra strong strike
Hey,
that
spin
launches
to
smaller
win.
enemies within range. Dory's elemental skill fires troubleshooter shots from her spirit warding lamp, dealing electro damage to enemies. To sweeten the deal, when troubleshooter shots hit their target, 2 after-sales service rounds are produced that automatically track down their nearby enemies and deal extra electro damage just for good measure. After unlocking the talent Compound Interest, when the troubleshooter shots or after-sales service rounds from Dory's elemental skill hit enemies, Dory will restore elemental energy to herself based on her energy recharge rate. Each elemental skill valid for 1 energy recharge only. Energy can be redeemed only up to a certain limit. Terms and conditions apply.
Oh, that's cute. I love that. I love how it's like a
Dory
commercial.
unleashes her elemental burst. She summons the genie from her lamp to provide her customers with a plethora of services. The genie connects to a nearby character, causing them to become affected by electro. The connected character will continuously restore HP based on Dory's max HP and will also steadily regenerate energy. When the connector between the genie and the character touches enemies, it will deal bouts of electro damage to them at set intervals. Only one genie can exist at one time. An astute merchant like Dory spots business opportunities everywhere she looks. She must always be ready to provide customers with the perfect solution at a moment's notice. After unlocking the talent, An Eye for Gold, when a character connected to the genie triggers an electrocharged superconduct, overloaded, quicken, aggravate, hyperbloom, or an electro swirl or crystallize reaction, the cooldown of Troubleshooter Cannon is decreased. This effect can only be triggered once within a set period of time. Any merchant worth their Mora must have keen foresight, and Dory figures out just what her customers need before they've even realized themselves. That's why adventurers heading toward danger always seem to find a certain petite peddler waiting for them, just where the going starts to get tough. After entering battle, Dory fires her troubleshooter shots to deal electro damage to enemies, with the after-sales service rounds following up after the initial delivery. When her energy is full, Dory summons forth the genie within the lamp
Okay.
to provide support to her teammates. The genie can connect
Oh,
to a nearby
dope.
character, causing them to regenerate energy and restore HP. By moving the character's
Oh, that's
position,
useful.
the connection with the genie can be adjusted, dealing electro damage to enemies while offering customers a little extra bang for their buck. I've traveled all over the world, met countless people, and helped plenty of them along the way. But Dory is one of the very few who still keeps in touch. I'm not interested in her paying me back, but I do admire her bold and daring mercantile methods. Doing business is just like adventuring and inventing. You must go big or go home. You mustn't be skittish and easily deterred. So for my purposes, Dory is a superb partner, and I am only too delighted to place the most ingenious of my personal inventions into her capable hands. An old astrologist friend of mine always harps on about the consequences of handing off
Oh,
these
she's
kinds of
also an
items,
inventor,
but nothing
right?
has come of it yet, so we'll continue business as normal.
Oh, so the narrator is also an inventor, huh? That's curious. Wonder who it is. Anyways, cute trailer. I won't lie, pretty cute. Not some, I'll be honest, not a character I would use in my party, but just a cute nonetheless. Yeah, not a character I would pull, but cute nonetheless. I like it. Anyways, let's move on to the next trailer. Sino, Path of the Lone Wolf. Let's go.
Many in Sumeru make it their life's goal to be a scholar, some for the pursuit of truth and knowledge, but there are also those who have other intentions. After all, if you find a niche research topic and manage to secure academia funding, you're set for life. But if this sounds too good to be true, that's because it usually is. The academia is a millennia-old institution, and those working to ensure its continued longevity have zero tolerance for those trying to exploit it.
Who's our next target?
Hey, let's go.
The favor of the gods enables Sino to manipulate the electro element and to summon a divine spirit to aid him in the cause of delivering justice. The General Mahamatra gained his formidable reputation not through empty posturing, but by tracking down wayward scholars and bringing them to justice. And because of his tracking prowess, these trips often end up more bountiful than expected. Sino
Alright.
gains increased rewards when dispatched on a 20-hour expedition within Sumeru. Sino's normal attack can combo up to 4 strikes with his polearm, dealing physical damage. Using his charged attack, Sino consumes a certain amount of stamina to lunge forward, dealing physical damage to enemies along the way. Cast Sino's elemental skill to perform a high-speed dash, dealing electro damage to enemies in his path.
Through me, justice is served.
Sino's elemental burst summons a divine spirit to possess him.
Oh,
He
yo,
morphs
that
into
looks
the Pact
sick.
Sworn Path Clearer, causing damage dealt by his normal, charged, and plunging attacks
Oh,
to be converted
yo,
to electro
looks
damage
awesome.
that cannot be overridden. In this state, Sino's elemental mastery and resistance to interruption are increased, and he gains immunity to damage dealt by electro-charged reactions. The Pact Sworn Path Clearer state ends after a set duration, or when Sino leaves the field. When Sino is in the Pact Sworn Path Clearer state, his elemental skill changes, instead unleashing a mortuary rite, which deals thunderous AoE electro damage and extends the duration of Pact Sworn Path Clearer. Once the General Mahamatra has you in his sights, the best option is to admit your guilt. Otherwise, you will find yourself the target of his relentless pursuit. After unlocking the talent Featherfall Judgment, when Sino is in the Pact Sworn Path Clearer state, he will intermittently enter the Endseer state. If he casts his elemental skill while in this state, he will activate the Judication effect, increasing the damage of this elemental skill and firing off 3 Duststalker bolts that deal electro damage. After unlocking the talent Authority over the 9 Bows, damage dealt by Cyno's normal attack and Duststalker bolts while in the Pack-Sworn Path Clearer state is increased based on Cyno's elemental mastery. Break the Academia Code at your peril, for as are Cyno's jokes, so too is his judgment, no laughing matter. Cyno starts battle by casting his elemental skill, dealing electro damage to enemies and building up elemental energy. When his energy is full, he unleashes his elemental burst to enter the Pack-Sworn Path Clearer state, then deals electro damage to enemies with normal attacks, and his special elemental skill, Mortuary Rite. By strategically using Mortuary Rite, he not only extends the Pack-Sworn Path Clearer state, but also triggers the Judication effect to fire off Duststalker bolts and deliver
he's
final
going
judgment
crazy,
upon the
dude.
guilty. In my travels across Tevat, I've heard people say that curiosity was mankind's original sin. Perhaps everyone has the impulse to explore the deep secrets of the world, but only scholars can truly fulfill such ambitions. Cyno can relate to some degree. Placing the mysteries of the universe before scholars with a burning desire for knowledge would be like placing a dragon-themed deck from Genius Invocation TCG in front of him. Both are irresistible temptations.
Casual
The
plug of
academia
the
established
of the
mantra not
TCG.
principally to
Okay.
punish wayward scholars, but rather to protect them, because the gravest crimes committed in the name of wisdom may be beyond the mantra's ability to punish.
Okay, I'll be honest. He looks pretty sick. He looks pretty cool, man. Especially with the whole state where his mask comes down and like it the eyes on the mask glow like yellowish, and his hands become like claws and stuff. Fused claws. I forget what it's called, but yeah, that state looks amazing. I love it. He looks pretty damn cool. I will not lie to you. I would definitely pull him if given the opportunity and resources. But yeah, just great stuff, man. I'm also curious about his lore as well. But good stuff, man. Good stuff. Anyways, let's move on to the next video. Candace, Sea of Golden Sand. Let's go.
In the eyes of many adventurers, merchants, and even mercenaries, Aru Village is the only safe haven in an otherwise treacherous desert. Though far from prosperous, it provides ample food and water to all who come here in need, as well as a bed for the night. On one condition: do not disturb the peace.
Stay close.
As the sworn protector of Aru Village, Candace is highly adept with her shield and spear. With the aid of her hydrovision, she can fend off the strongest of storms and the fiercest of foes.
Oh, Hydro, huh?
Life is harsh in the hot and arid desert. Strength and endurance are the key to survival for those who dwell here. When Candace is in the party, the active character benefits from reduced stamina consumption from climbing. Candace's normal attack can combo up to 4 strikes with her polearm, dealing physical damage. Using her charged attack, Candace consumes a certain amount of stamina to lunge forward, dealing physical damage to enemies.
Well, I actually
along the
like
way.
that she throws her polearm at the end of her normal
Candace's
attack
elemental
string.
skill to perform a swift shield strike, dealing hydro damage to enemies in front. Hold her elemental skill, and she raises the shield to block attacks from nearby enemies. The shield absorbs damage based on her max HP, and offers extra protection against hydro damage. The shield can remain until Candace finishes casting her elemental skill. After holding the skill for a fixed duration, Candace will finish charging her attack. Then when the skill is released, its duration expires or the shield is broken, she performs a forward leaping strike that deals hydro damage. After unlocking the talent Aegis of Crossed Arrows, if Candace is hit while holding her elemental skill, she instantly finishes charging.
We shall prevail!
When
Okay.
Candace unleashes her elemental burst, she holds her weapon high to summon divine assistance, which deals AoE hydro damage based on her max HP, and continuously grants the Prayer of the Crimson Crown state to the active character. In this state, when a character's normal attack deals elemental damage to an enemy, the damage dealt is increased. Switching characters unleashes a rippling wave attack, dealing hydro damage to nearby enemies. This can only be triggered a limited number of times during Prayer of the Crimson Crown's duration. Additionally, characters wielding a sword, claymore, or polearm gain a hydro infusion while Prayer of the Crimson Crown is in effect. After unlocking the talent Celestial Dome of Sand, when a character under the effect of Prayer of the Crimson Crown deals elemental damage with a normal attack, damage dealt is increased based on Candace's max HP.
Okay.
Candace is a kind soul who is only too happy to stow her weapon when not needed, but anyone who mistakes her good nature for weakness and fails to respect the customs of Aru village should prepare to face the consequences. When battle commences, Candace comes to the defense of the party, using her elemental skill to block the enemy's attack and perform a counterattack. When energy is full, she casts her elemental burst to deal AoE hydro damage and boost her teammates' normal attacks with the Prayer of the Crimson Crown status, then joins them in removing the unruly visitors from Aru village for good.
Alright, okay.
There are many rumors about the village guardian with the one golden eye. They say that the sands are her spies, the storm winds are her servants, the blood of King Deshret flows in her veins, and that even the strongest of foes must yield at her command. People who have lost their guardian deity often display the greatest interest in the gods, but having never seen a god with their own eyes, the far-fetched products of their naive imaginations are poor substitutes for reality. Yet despite being the subject of these fanciful rumors, Candace herself takes a much more sober view of things. A shield is but a tool, a polearm but a weapon, and what matters most is not the divine power a weapon contains, but the determination of the one who wields it.
Okay, I like it. She seems pretty dope, I won't lie. I like her animations, I like her character design too. And I'm kinda interested in her lore as well. She seems pretty decent, I'm not going to lie to you. I like it. She's like, although I'll be honest, she wouldn't be my first choice if I were to put her on my team. If I were to pull her, she wouldn't really be my first choice, I'll be honest though. Anyways, I also love the music as well, and yeah, let's move on to the next trailer. Nilu, Lotus Waves. Let's go.
To the people of Sumeru, who are accustomed to receiving concrete information from the Akasha, the arts are an abstract and intangible concept. What constitutes good art? Is there a way to quantify its value? These questions leave even the academia's most esteemed scholars at a loss. But to Nilu, art is the simplest and purest thing in the world. There is no barrier to entry, and everyone can appreciate its beauty.
Ah yeah, she's the dancer. Ah yeah.
Though Nilu's dancing may appear delicate, there is measured strength behind every step. Nilu integrates swordplay with agile footwork as she waltzes with the water to the aid of her allies. Dancing requires not only grace, but physical endurance as well. That is why Nilu pays particular attention to her dietary intake. When Nilu achieves perfect cooking on dishes with adventure-related effects, she has a certain chance to double the product. Nilu's normal attack can combo up to 3 strikes, dealing physical damage to enemies. When using her charged attack, Nilu consumes a certain amount of stamina to unleash a twirling strike, dealing physical damage.
Okay.
When she uses her elemental skill, Nilu enters the pirouette state, dealing hydro damage to nearby enemies based on her max HP. While in the pirouette state, using Nilu's normal attack or elemental skill triggers her sword dance stance, or whirling step stance, respectively, while damage she deals is converted to hydro damage that cannot be overridden and is treated as elemental skill damage.
Okay.
While the pirouette state is active, Nilou's third stance will end this state and trigger a different effect depending on the stance. If Nilou's final stance is Sword Dance, she unleashes a luminous illusion that inflicts hydro damage to enemies it hits, while also gaining the Lunar Prayer effect. While Lunar Prayer is active, Nilou's normal attack is converted to a Sword Dance, and her final hit will unleash a luminous illusion. If Nilou's final stance is Whirling Steps, she unleashes a whirling water wheel that deals AoE hydro damage. Also, a Tranquility Aura is created that follows your active character and applies the wet status to enemies in range. Nilou cannot perform charged attacks while the Pirouette or Lunar Prayer status is active. Leaving the battlefield will remove the status. After unlocking the talent Court of Dancing Petals, if the party consists exclusively of Dendro and Hydro characters, including at least one of each, the third stance of Nilou's elemental skill, when executed, will confer the Golden Chalice's bounty effect on all nearby characters for a limited time. When a character under the effects of Golden Chalice's bounty is hit by a Dendro attack, the elemental mastery of all nearby characters is increased for a certain time. Additionally, triggering a Bloom reaction will produce a Bountiful Core instead of a Dendro Core. The Bountiful Core's attack is treated as a post-Bloom Dendro Core attack, but it bursts more quickly and has a larger AoE than the Dendro Core. Bountiful Cores cannot trigger Hyper Bloom or Burgeon reactions, and they share the same field limit as Dendro Cores. Nilou's dancing style is the stuff of dreams, captivating her audience's hearts and bolstering their spirits. After unlocking the talent Dreamy Dance of Eons, Bountiful Cores triggered due to Golden Chalice's bounty deal increased damage based on how much of Nilou's max HP exceeds a given value. Bountiful Core damage can only be increased in this manner by up to a certain amount.
This dance is for you!
Nilou's elemental burst begins a dance of faraway dreams and melodic springs that causes a lotus of distant waters to bloom, dealing AoE hydro damage based on Nilou's max HP. Enemies hit by the elemental burst will sustain the lingering Eon effect, which deals hydro damage after a short delay. To Nilou, there is little difference between battle and dance, since both can be used to resolve one's troubles. Most of Nilou's combat is centered around her elemental skill. She freely dances between her two stances, with Sword Dance allowing her to continuously inflict hydro damage via Lunar Prayer, and Whirling Steps setting the stage for follow-up elemental reactions through the persistent Tranquility Aura effect. With the right party composition, Nilou's third stance during the performance of her elemental skill grants the Golden Chalice's bounty effect to her teammates. Triggering the Bloom reaction while this effect is active spawns special Bountiful Cores that deal greater damage to enemies. When her elemental energy is full, Nilou can use her elemental burst to begin a dance of faraway dreams, dealing AoE hydro damage and applying the lingering Eon effect to any enemies hit. The lingering Eon follows up with a further attack after a short delay, ushering in the curtain call of Nilou's spectacular performance. I must stress that I am a warrior and in no way versed in the disciplines of song and dance. If anyone was expecting to hear my philosophical musings on these topics, I'm sorry to disappoint. But while I am no connoisseur, even I find myself moved once in a while by the sight of an extraordinary performance. Even for the nation of wisdom, citing the pursuit of rationality as a justification for refusing to acknowledge the comfort that an audience can find in the arts is sheer arrogance. When groups clash, or human ideals conflict with the rules of the world around them, disputes of this nature most often arise from the inability to tolerate the existence of that which is different from oneself.
Okay. Damn. Okay. That got pretty philosophical at the end. I won't lie. That got pretty philosophical at the end. And I'll be honest. That was a lot. I'll be honest. That was a lot to understand and unpack. She seems pretty complicated. Because that seemed to be pretty lot to unpack, man. That seemed to be a lot to unpack. But I liked it. I like her concept of a character, of a dancer and such and so forth. Like a sort of ballet dancer and such. Anyways, just nice, good stuff, man. I liked it. Well, not the first character I would put in my party or pull for, but I liked her nonetheless. Anyways, let's move on to the next character. Let's move on to the next one. Nadia. Unraveling Wonders of the Universe. Let's go.
Lesser Lord Kusanali is a god unlike any other. As the god of wisdom, she has profound insight into the nature of all things, yet she has never had the opportunity to learn by doing. One may ask, how can a god possess true wisdom in the absence of lived experience? All answers can be found in dreams, and she welcomes fellow truth seekers to dream along with her.
I've been waiting for you for ages.
Over her years of confinement, Lesser Lord Kusanali has grown intensely curious about the world outside. Just through observing from afar, Nahida has learned enough to adapt to any situation.
Nahida. Okay, fuck.
Nahida's normal attack can perform up to 4 strikes that deal dendro damage. Her charged attack consumes a set amount of stamina to deal AoE dendro damage in front of her after a short casting time. Tap Nahida's elemental skill to cast dendral bonds that deal AoE dendro damage. Of the enemy's hit, a certain number will be marked with the seed of Skanda. Hold her elemental skill to enter aiming mode and target enemies within a certain range. Nahida benefits from increased resistance to interruption while in this mode. Aiming mode lasts for a limited duration, and only a limited number of enemies can be selected as targets. Release the skill button to deal dendro damage to all selected enemies, and mark them with a seed of Skanda. Enemies marked with a seed of Skanda and in range of each other will form a connection. When an enemy marked with a seed of Skanda triggers an elemental reaction, or takes damage from dendro cores, Nahida unleashes Tri-Karma Purification, dealing dendro damage to them and all connected enemies based on Nahida's attack and elemental mastery. Tri-Karma Purification can only be triggered once per set interval.
Okay.
After unlocking the talent Awakening Elucidated, the crit rate and damage of Tri-Karma Purification will be increased based on the amount of Nahida's elemental mastery that exceeds a given value. Tri-Karma Purification's crit rate and damage can only be increased in this manner up to a certain amount. Nahida is always watching, listening, learning about the world around her. Nahida's elemental skill allows her to interact with certain harvestable items when they are in range. In some scenarios, it may also have other uses.
The Temple of Wisdom!
Oh.
When Nahida unleashes her elemental burst, she materializes the Court of Dreams and brings forth the Shrine of Maya. The shrine provides different effects depending on the elemental types of characters in the party, as follows.
That looks amazing.
If the party contains a pyro character, the damage dealt by Tri-Karma Purification will be increased when Nahida is within the Shrine of Maya's AoE. If the party contains an electro character, the interval between each Tri-Karma Purification is decreased when Nahida is within the Shrine of Maya's AoE. If the party contains a Hydro character, the Shrine of Maya's duration will be extended. When the Shrine of Maya is created, if the party contains at least 2 characters of the aforementioned elemental types, their corresponding effects will receive a further boost. So long as the active party member remains within the shrine, the effects described above can be triggered even if Nahida is not on the field.
Okay.
Nahida freely shares her knowledge with anyone who asks, but how much of it they can comprehend depends on their own aptitude. After unlocking the talent Compassion Illuminated, when Nahida casts her elemental burst, the elemental mastery of the active character within the Shrine of Maya will be increased based on the elemental mastery of whichever party members is highest. Elemental mastery can only be increased up to a certain amount in this manner. The God of Wisdom excels both at posing questions and answering them. Combat is no different. The enemy is the conundrum, and her strategy is the solution. In battle, Nahida first targets a group of enemies with her elemental skill, using seeds of Skanda to connect them to each other. Next, she coordinates with her teammates to trigger elemental reactions, repeatedly unleashing Tri-Karma purifications as her main mode of attack. She and her team branch out across the battlefield, taking out the weeds as they go. When energy is full, Nahida unleashes her elemental burst, creating the Shrine of Maya to increase all active characters' elemental mastery, and provide additional effects depending on the elemental composition of her party. Faced with Nahida's increased dendro damage and the strengthened team around her, all who enter the Temple of Wisdom seeking conflict will soon be reunited with their home turf. Humans often place gods on a pedestal, awestruck by their unfathomable power. Very few ever come to the realization that gods are not the rulers of Teyvat, but merely another form of living being in this world. A god who lacks strength may have little to no advantage, even over mere mortals. Even I have no spiteful words to say about a god such as this.
Okay.
I will leave her be. Perhaps the god of Dendro will continue to propagate herself for as long as Irminsul continues to exist. As for the significance of Irminsul to the whole of Teyvat, I will leave that for those who are not under this world's control to discover for themselves.
Okay. Okay, that was interesting. I like that. She seems really cute, man. I like her curiosity for the world. I think she's pretty damn cute, man. And honestly, from a gameplay perspective, she seems like a pretty decent support character. I'm not gonna lie. She really does seem like a pretty decent support character to have in your party if you want to, buff damage and stuff. And very good support character for mobbing as well. I like it. She seems pretty strong. Anyways, that was a good trailer. Let's move on to the next trailer. Layla, Sweet Slumber in the Sea of Stars. Let's go.
Dreaming may be an entirely new concept to the majority in Sumeru, but one person's already managed to become famous for it. Recently, the strange tales of the sleepwalking eccentric have been circulating in the academia. Rarely used telescopes quietly moving during the night. Entire theses finished between dusk and dawn, and a girl seen in the city 1 minute spotted all the way over at Caravan Rebop the next. The only one who can't muster the strength to investigate it is Layla herself. Chronic sleep deprivation has taken its toll on her energy levels.
Can't sleep? Let's go for a walk then.
Layla's research primarily focuses on theoretical astrology. After receiving her cryovision, she formed a star-crusted veil with ice and frost, providing a space for her companions to study, rest, and even fight undisturbed. Sometimes, while deep asleep, a friend that Layla never knew she had will secretly come to her aid. When Layla crafts character talent materials, she has a chance to receive double the product, boosting the party's adventure readiness. Layla's normal attack can combo up to 3 strikes, dealing physical damage to enemies. Using her charged attack, Layla consumes a certain amount of stamina and performs 2 swift slashes to her front, dealing physical damage. Casting Layla's elemental skill creates a Curtain of Slumber and also deals AoE cryo damage. The Curtain of Slumber absorbs damage based on Layla's max HP, and absorbs cryo damage even more effectively. Layla also becomes affected by cryo for a short time, when the Curtain of Slumber is created. At regular intervals while the Curtain of Slumber is active, a Night Star is generated, which adheres to the curtain. Additionally, 2 Night Stars are generated when a character protected by the curtain casts their elemental skill. Night Stars can only be generated in this manner once per set time period, and a maximum of 4 Night Stars may exist at one time. After 4 Night Stars have been accumulated, if there are enemies in range, the Night Stars convert to Shooting Stars that automatically home in on enemies, dealing cryo damage on hit. No new Night Stars can be generated until all Shooting Stars have fired. When the Curtain of Slumber expires or is destroyed, any Night Stars present disappear along with it. If they have already converted into Shooting Stars and started firing, they will remain until all of them have finished firing. After unlocking the talent Like Nascent Light, while the Curtain of Slumber is present, gaining a Night Star triggers the Deep Sleep effect. Deep Sleep increases the shield strength of the character under the curtain's protection. It can be stacked up to 4 times, and is cleared when the Curtain of Slumber expires. Any disturbance is too much after a night of poor quality sleep. The only solution is to get rid of them completely. After unlocking the talent Sweet Slumber Undisturbed, the Shooting Stars fired by Layla's elemental skill deal increased damage based on Layla's max HP.
Stars, shine for me.
Layla's elemental burst unleashes a soporific celestial dream sphere that continuously fires starlight slugs at enemies within range, dealing cryo damage. When a starlight slug hits an enemy, a Night Star is also generated on nearby Curtains of Slumber. Each Curtain of Slumber can gain only 1 Night Star in this manner per set time period. Layla knows the pain of sleep deprivation all too keenly, and naturally wouldn't wish it on any of her companions. In battle, Layla uses her elemental skill to create a protective Curtain of Slumber for her teammates, and starts accumulating Night Stars. A full quota of Night Stars will convert into Shooting Stars that target nearby enemies and deal cryo damage, supporting the battle effort. When energy is full, Layla unleashes her elemental burst to create a celestial dream sphere, which continuously fires starlight slugs at enemies in range to deal cryo damage, while also increasing the production of Night Stars, helping her teammates to comfortably slide their way to victory. Many people have 2 sides to their personality, but it's not often that the contrast between them is as stark as Layla's. She spends her waking hours crushed by stress over her schoolwork, yet when sleepwalking, her mind is sharp and lucid. She casts aside her unproductive feelings of self-doubt and gets much accomplished. But perhaps she should count her blessings. Finding a goal in life is difficult enough as it is, and having any chance at all to pursue it undisturbed is nigh on impossible. Enjoy life while things are still uncomplicated. Go and do the things you want to do. Because once you reach a certain age, things can never go back to being as simple as they once were.
True. So true. I won't lie, that is truth right there. Anyways, yeah. I like Layla, man. She's kind of like my spirit animal, I won't lie. Especially with the whole sleep deprivation thing. Kind of like my sleep animal. She's kind of like my spirit animal. Very much like my spirit animal, man. She really is like she literally is like a college student. Yeah, she's legit like a college student. Just being super tired all the damn time. Oh, I love it. Anyways, as for gameplay, she seems like a pretty decent support character with having the shield, with like having the shield, you know, that can't be damaged. So she seems pretty good on that respect. And she seems to be pretty good, well, I'll be honest. Anyways, I also love the music too. It was very relaxing as well. Anyways, let's move on to the next trailer. Wanderer. Any way the wind blows. Let's go.
There once was a palace, and in that palace was a puppet, sound
Oh,
asleep.
different narrator, okay.
You know, I could just pretend that I don't remember what happened after that, and then make up some boring story and get this over with. But boring clearly isn't my style, nor is it the Wanderer's way of doing things. You could say his story is simple and straightforward, or horrendously complex, and both would be right. It all depends on the storyteller.
Are you sure it has to be me? Fine. Let's get this over with.
If you happen to run into this Wanderer, don't let his menacing expression make you nervous. He's really not all that hard to get along with. You just need to keep your distance, that's all. Don't provoke him, and he won't kick up a storm. Simple, isn't it? He doesn't like to talk about it much, but the Wanderer has quite a lot of experience in forging weapons. So when the Wanderer ascends bows and catalysts, it doesn't cost him as much mora. The Wanderer's normal attack can combo up to 3 wind blades, dealing
So he's a
animal
bit of a lone
damage.
wolf, huh?
His charged attack consumes some stamina and creates a high-pressure wind blast in front of him after a short casting time.
Okay, so he's an
dealing
animo
AoE
character.
Animo damage. The Wanderer's elemental skill harnesses the power of the air all around as he casts off the shackles of gravity, dealing AoE animo damage and rising into the air as he enters the wind-favored state. In this state, the Wanderer is unable to use plunging attacks, and his normal and charged attacks are converted to Kugo Fushodan and Kugo Tofukai, which deal increased damage over a wider AoE. Using Kugo Tofukai will not consume stamina. The Wanderer hovers in midair while in this state, continuously consuming Kugo Ryoku points to remain airborne. When the sprint button is pressed, instead of sprinting, the Wanderer consumes more Kugo Ryoku points to fly through the air more quickly. Holding sprint maintains a faster flying speed while consuming points at a faster rate.
Okay.
Pressing jump raises the Wanderer higher into the air at the cost of Kugo Ryoku points, and holding jump does so continuously. The wind-favored state ends when all Kugo Ryoku points are used up. The wind-favored state allows the Wanderer to do battle from midair, as well as explore difficult terrain more easily. Casting his elemental skill again while airborne brings the wind-favored state to an end. After unlocking the talent Jade Claimed Flower, if the Wanderer's elemental skill makes contact with Hydro, Pyro, Cryo, or Electro when cast, the wind-favored state provides different buffs depending on the element. Hydro increases the Wanderer's Kugo Ryoku point cap. Pyro increases the Wanderer's own attack. Cryo increases his crit rate.
Oh, yeah. Oh, okay.
Electro causes him to regain some elemental energy when Kugo Fushodan and Kugo Tofukai deal damage to enemies. A limited quantity of energy can be regained per set time period, and a maximum of 2 buffs can be gained at any one time. The force of wind cannot always be seen, but it can certainly be felt. After unlocking the talent Gales of a Reverie, when Kugo Fushodan or Kugo Tofukai hits an enemy, the Wanderer has a chance to gain the Descent effect. The next time the Wanderer uses his alternate sprint to fly at speed, the Descent effect is consumed instead of Kugo Ryoku points, and several wind arrows are fired, each dealing animo damage.
Okay.
If a Kugo Fushodan or Kugo Tofukai does not trigger the Descent effect, the chance of triggering the effect next time is increased.
Know your place!
Okay, he seems like a pretty strong DPS.
Casting the Wanderer's elemental burst compresses the surrounding air to form an animo plenum that blasts all sources of frustration away, dealing multiple bouts of AoE animo damage.
The animation, alt animation
Casting
looks
his elemental burst while in
crazy.
the wind-favored state brings
brings this state to an end. Though Wanderer is his name, aimlessness is not his game, and he does not hesitate to take decisive action in pursuit of his goals. The Wanderer's elemental skill is his preferred means of doing battle. Once in the wind-favored state, he attacks from the air using his Kubo Fushodan and Kubo Tofukai to deal increased animo damage with a wider AoE. By coordinating with his teammates, he can benefit from a range of enhancements, which make him even more powerful in battle. When energy is full, the Wanderer unleashes his elemental burst, dealing several rounds of AoE animo damage in one fell swoop, devastating all obstacles that stand in his way. The world of Tibet has its own rules. They aren't perfect, though, and in some cases they are as delicate and fragile as the human heart. That's why I've been tasked with the job I have now, a job which gives me certain special privileges. I'm someone who likes having the freedom to live their own life, but I don't mind this job. It gives me the chance to see this world and everything that lives in it from a lot of different perspectives. People can find ways to forget, but they can't undo what they've done, and there's no escaping the past. The Wanderer learned this the hard way. But what about his future? Which way will the wind blow? A lot of people crave the power to predict the future, but I doubt the Wanderer cares for that. With a past like his, he knows the only way is forward, whatever lies ahead, for better or for worse.
Okay, seems pretty dope. I will be honest. He seems pretty dope. And I know people will hate me for saying this. And I know people will probably hate me for saying this, but angry twink! It's an angry twink, ladies and gentlemen! He's an angry twink! He's an edgy, angry twink! I'm sorry, you're gonna hate me for saying that. But it's true. It's true, man. But he does seem like a pretty good DPS character. He does seem pretty dope. I won't lie. I like him. And I can't wait to see more of his backstory. And I'm also curious about the narrator for this trailer too. Like, who is it? I'm very, very curious about it. But anyways, let's move on to the next trailer. Okay. I think this will be the final trailer for today's video. So yeah, I'm super excited to dive in and see what this is all about. So yeah, Faruzan, Legacy of Knowledge. Let's go.
In the academia's early years, researching ancient mechanisms meant deciphering numerous documents. So even though Faruzan is a Haravatat scholar, her mastery of runes led her to become one of the pioneer scholars in the field of ancient mechanics. But as the academic world progressed over the course of a century, Faruzan's dedication to this field was buried beneath the sands of time, just like her unusual fate.
I'll hang out with you youngsters.
Although she may look young, Faruzan is an experienced Haravatat scholar and mentor with a robust research background.
Ah, she's one of those.
Her
Okay.
control over the power of Animo grants
Looks
many
young
new
but is
potential
extremely
uses
old.
to her ancient trinkets. Researching mechanisms and solving puzzles is a hands-on process, and one which has taken Faruzan all across Sumeru. Faruzan gains increased rewards when dispatched on a 20-hour expedition within Sumeru. Faruzan's normal attack can combo up to 4 consecutive shots, dealing physical damage. With a charged attack, Faruzan executes a more precise aimed shot that deals increased damage. While aiming, mighty winds accumulate on the arrowhead, and a fully charged arrow will deal animo damage. Casting Faruzan's elemental skill deploys a polyhedron device, dealing AoE animo damage and causing her to enter the Manifest Gale state. In
Okay.
this state, Faruzan's next fully charged shot will consume the Manifest Gale and turn into a hurricane arrow. This arrow deals animo damage based on the damage of her fully charged normal attack, Parthian Shot. The hurricane arrow will apply a pressurized collapse effect to the enemy or character hit. This effect will be removed after a short delay, creating a vortex that deals AoE anemo damage and pulls in nearby objects and enemies. If the arrow does not hit any enemy or character, it will create a pressurized collapse effect at its point of impact. The vortex damage is considered elemental skill damage.
Truth repeats its course.
Alright.
Unleashing her elemental burst, Faruzan deploys a dazzling polyhedron that releases
Okay,
a
that's pretty
whirlwind pulse and deals AoE anemo damage. While the dazzling polyhedron persists, it will continuously move along a triangular path. Whenever it reaches a corner of that triangular path, it unleashes a whirlwind pulse. The whirlwind pulse will apply Prayerful Wind's benefit to all nearby party members, granting them an anemo damage bonus. When the pulse hits an enemy, it will apply Perfidious Wind's Bale to them, decreasing their anemo resistance. After unlocking the talent Impetuous Flow, when Faruzan is in the Manifest Gale state created by her elemental skill, the charging time of her aimed shot is decreased, and she can apply the Perfidious Wind's Bale effect to enemies hit by the vortex created by pressurized collapse.
Okay, she's also a bow user. Okay.
As a veteran of academia, Faruzan never hesitates to impart her wisdom to the future generations. After unlocking the talent Lost Wisdom of the Seven Caverns, when characters affected by Prayerful Wind's benefit deal anemo damage to enemies with a normal, charged, or plunging attack, or an elemental skill or burst, they gain the Hurricane Guard effect, increasing the damage dealt by a certain percentage of Faruzan's base attack. Hurricane Guard can be triggered only once within a set duration, and the effect is cleared after anemo damage is dealt. Faruzan is unfazed by the fact that her field of research is now considered outdated. On the contrary, it has inspired new grit and determination. Faruzan starts battle by casting her elemental skill and quickly firing a hurricane arrow to deal anemo damage to the enemy. The arrow's pressurized collapse effect then pulls in nearby enemies, providing support to her teammates. When energy is full, Faruzan unleashes her elemental burst to deploy a dazzling polyhedron. This device moves over the battlefield, creating whirlwind pulses and decreasing enemies' anemo resistance, which effectively increases the team's anemo damage. Make the most of Faruzan's carefully researched dazzling polyhedron, and the rest of the battle will be a breeze.
Hey,
Time
nice
is a
pun.
relative concept and is perceived differently by different people. 100 years is the longest life most people could imagine. Small wonder that they are fascinated by the idea of someone disappearing for this long, only to return looking not a day older than when they left. To Faruzan, those 100 years were physically exhausting and mentally taxing, yet she balks at the idea of seeking sympathy or being the topic of other people's conversations. Only convincing the academia's new enrollees to address her as Madam gives her experience some meaning. But if you ask me, age isn't much of a qualification. After all, time never really stops flowing. And although ancient wisdom should be respected, how long would it really take to erase it all?
Ayo. What is this narrator man planning? What is he planning? What is he planning? Anyways, that was kind of sus at the end there. Anyways, that's a pretty good trailer. I liked it. I'm pretty interested to see learning more about Faruzan and her past and stuff like that, and her what she went through like over 100 years ago, and over the course of that 100 years when she was gone. Also, she seems like a support character, an Animo team support character, which is actually kind of useful, considering that I don't think... Wait, does Animo have a lot of support characters? Like, that, like, directly, like, actually supports other team members? Or, like, I think they do. Whatever. But anyways, I like her animations. Very, almost, high-tech. High-tech, almost. Her animations really give me that sort of high-tech vibe. I won't lie. And I enjoy it. I enjoy those types of animations. Anyways, that was some pretty good stuff. I enjoyed all of them, and I can't wait to do more. So yeah, thank you guys so much for watching. If you enjoyed, please drop a like on the video, and also if you want to see more, please subscribe, and please let me know what you thought of the video down in the comments below. And remember to stay humble and be kind to people, and see you guys later.